At the beginning of the film, we meet Lars, a quiet, withdrawn young man who lives in a small town. He works in an office, doesn't socialize much, and lives in a garage near the house of his brother Gus and his wife Karen. Karen constantly calls Lars for dinner, but he always refuses, saying that he is busy. The man avoids touching, doesn't talk much, seems harmless, but still something about him seems strange. Her brother doesn't know how to deal with him, and Karen is genuinely worried. One day, Lars announces that he has a girlfriend named Bianca, and he is going to bring her to visit. This shocks everyone, and no one believes their ears. Later, the man reveals that they met on the internet, and she is a missionary confined to a wheelchair. Lars asks his brother and sister-in-law to prepare a room for her for the night. Evening comes. Lars shows up on Gus and Karen's doorstep, not alone. He has indeed brought Bianca, but it turns out to be a full-size, realistic rubber doll with a wig and clothes. Lars, in love, talks to the doll as if it were a living person, introduces it as if it could hear. Karen is in a stupor. Gus is utterly confused. But Lars truly believes Bianca is real. He talks to her, acts like she has feelings, emotions, character. The couple is in shock. What to do? Tell him the truth? Insult him? Or play along? They turn to a family therapist they know, Dr. Dagmar. The therapist suggests a strange but humane approach. Since Lars thinks she's a real girl, it's worth trying to play by his rules. Dr. Dagmar explains that Lars is going through a serious psychological trauma. Therefore, if everyone starts to acknowledge it, Lars can gradually build a connection with reality. Karen supports the idea, but Gus is hesitant. But seeing no other ways, he agrees. And the unbelievable begins. The townspeople, one by one, play along with Lars. In the shop, Bianca's clothes are picked out. At the church, the people give her a seat. The doll is even signed up as a volunteer. Everyone pretends like she's a full part of society. And Bianca lives. She goes to events, visits the hairdresser, participates in the life of the town. While Bianca is getting a life, Lars starts to change. He no longer avoids socializing, becomes more active, and even smiles. One day, the man brings his rubber girl to Dr. Dagmar for a checkup, but ends up talking himself. Gradually, the man opens up. He talks about his childhood, his feelings, his fear, but he does it through Bianca, talking about her life before him. His trust to the doctor grows. Lars seems to thaw and blossom. The people in town, despite the absurdity of the situation, support him. They realize that this is not a joke, not a whim, but his way of dealing with his inner pain. Even the most skeptical neighbors eventually soften and play along. Lars begins to work with the children, to participate in common activities. He is more and more a part of the world he used to try to escape from. During one of the sessions with Dagmar, Lars talks about his difficult past, which explains why he found solace in his love for Bianca. His mom died in childbirth, and his father was cold and silent, often absent. Lars grew up in silence and loneliness, with no body contact, no affection. Hence, his fear of touch, because physical intimacy scares a guy to the point of panic and literally hurts him because of his fear. Lars has learned to avoid feelings in order not to suffer. That's why Bianca has become perfect for him, because she's there for him. Her love is safe, predictable, doesn't require return, doesn't hurt. Through her, the man learns to be around other people. Gradually, it becomes clear that Bianca is therapy, his way of learning to feel again. We see that all between Lars and Bianca are serious. He takes her to church, discusses plans with her, takes care of her. Lars makes her a separate bed, reads books to her. Those around her become more and more involved, and we see Bianca volunteering at the library, participating in the Board of Education. Lars, meanwhile, is smiling more and more. He is no longer intimidated by contact with others. He even talks to his colleagues, which was unthinkable before, especially with Margot, the nice girl at work, who has long had a fondness for him, but keeps her feelings to herself. But Lars, so far, is not ready for real intimacy. He keeps distance, hiding behind Bianca. Gus is increasingly worried about his brother. He's afraid that Lars will finally fall into illusion. But after one frank conversation with Dagmar, he begins to realize that his brother simply doesn't know how to live in the real world. He is wounded, and instead of criticism, he needs support and care. Meanwhile, Lars becomes more difficulties, finding that Bianca doesn't always listen, argues with him, and makes him jealous. The doll appears to have her own schedule, which the man resents. He becomes irritated, angry, and these emotions are new to the man. Lars is living out feelings in a relationship for the first time in his life, even if they are imaginary. He feels for the first time that someone can be independent of him, and he becomes anxious. One day, Bianca says that she wants to stay with Karen and Gus because it's too cold at Lars' place. The man agrees painfully but without resistance. This becomes the first step to letting go. He goes out alone more and more often. His contact with Margot becomes closer, and they talk more and more, laughing, playing board games. Lars allows her to touch himself for the first time. It was fleeting, but it's an important moment. Lars is no longer the same person he was before. He's more alive, more emotional, more involved. He's more and more a person among people. Some of the town's residents are starting to tire of the game. People discuss in whispers, "Isn't it time to stop this madness?" However, others reply, "You don't understand. It's not about the doll, it's about him." People, once they decide to play along, begin to see how Lars' life has changed. The man has not just become different, he has become himself. Dr. Dagmar supports this idea because the process cannot be interrupted and everything should end naturally. Meanwhile, Bianca starts to get sick. Lars says that Bianca is not feeling well, and he brings her to the doctor. The doctor examines the girl and confirms, yes, the illness is serious. In the town, the talk starts. Bianca is dying. And incredibly, all the residents are included in sympathy. People carry flowers, write letters of support, pray. Bianca goes from being a fictional character to a collective symbol of caring. Lars looks devastated. He is increasingly silent, less out of the house. The moment when he will have to let Bianca go is getting closer and closer. This situation torments Lars. He comes to Dagmar and says that he doesn't know what to do. The man is afraid that if Bianca dies, he will be left alone. But on the other hand, Lars realizes that he has already changed. Before, the man couldn't even let someone touch him, but now he holds Margot's hand. He shares his fears. What if I can't be normal? What if I can't cope without her? Dagmar gently answers him, "You're already coping." Lars looks at her, and you can see the realization in his eyes. He is ready. Bianca is getting weaker and weaker. One day, according to Lars, she fainted, and the doll was taken away by ambulance. The man, with worry, tells everyone she doesn't have long to live. He experiences this as a real loss. Lars sits by the girl's bedside, holding her hand, talking to her. In his behavior, we see genuine grief. Gus and Karen are always around, and all the neighbors visit the man. And while everyone realizes that Bianca is a doll, the atmosphere is real. It's collective therapy. The doll has become a symbol of fragility, of pain, of trust. Lars, unable to talk about feelings before, is now living through grief. This becomes the final stage of his journey to himself. One day, Karen and Gus suggested to Lars and Bianca to go to the countryside. Not immediately, but they agreed. When they arrived, Lars carefully placed Bianca on a blanket. Lars was clearly distressed by the realization that Bianca would soon be gone. The man sat silently looking at the horizon, while Gus and his wife discussed the weather. Perhaps in his thoughts was the realization that Bianca's death couldn't be avoided, and he would have to learn to live without her. Karen and Gus went for a walk, not far from where Lars and Bianca were sitting. Lars looked at his beloved, kissed her, and cried bitterly. It was the moment when Bianca's death took place. When Gus and Karen returned and saw Lars standing knee-deep in the water holding his doll and crying, they realized what had happened. Gus immediately rushed to his brother. Bianca is buried according to all human traditions. First the funeral, the priest speaks warm words about the deceased. After the send-off, everyone goes to the funeral. Everyone is present. Friends, colleagues, neighbors. Everyone stands in silence. Someone holds flowers. Lars says goodbye to Bianca. In this farewell, it's not just a scene. It's a cleansing, a maturing. He is letting go not only of her, but also of the old version of himself. At this moment, he is supported by his colleague Margot. After the ceremony, Gus stands apart from everyone. Dagmar comes up to him and starts talking about Lars. They both know that the man has changed a lot during this time and has become more open. This experience will affect his future relationships with girls and his life in general. He has opened up to people and has become more important in society. Lars is standing by the tombstone while Margot approaches him. She is crying and genuinely sympathizes with Lars. In the dialogue, Lars talks about Bianca, saying that she asked him not to be sad, but he can't do it. Margot supports him and says they need to join everyone else, and Lars suggests she go for a walk, to which Margot agrees. This is Lars's first real walk with a living person. No doll, no conventions, no fear. The film Lars and the Real Girl is not just a story about a lonely man with a doll. It is a subtle, touching parable about how the soul is healed, how a sick fear recedes when one is not laughed at, but accepted. Lars was given a chance to be heard, and the community, unexpectedly, coped. No one reproached him for his strangeness. No one made him come back to reality. Instead, people gave time, space, and warmth. And he, in return, became stronger, more human. The most surprising thing in the film is, of course, the reaction of people around him. Doctors, relatives, colleagues, neighbors, they all become participants in Lars's game, knowing that it is not real. They play to help. It's not mockery or pity, it's compassion. It becomes the main strength of the film. Each character shows that sometimes to help a person, you don't have to change them. You just have to be there for them, sincerely. The film shows that love is not necessarily passion or recognition. Love is a readiness to support even in the strangest grief. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.